Question number 1. The radicals eliminated anyone accused of being against the revolution during. Great thinking. Reign of Terror is the right choice. Question number 2. Who legislated to free all slaves in the French overseas possessions in 1794? Perfect. Convention is the correct choice. Question number 3. Which estate paid all of the taxes in France prior to the French Revolution? Sharp thinking. Third estate is the right choice. Question number 4. The National Assembly of France voted in April 1792 to declare war against. You got it. Your choice, Prussia and Austria, is right. Question number 5. Who reintroduced slavery in France after it was abolished by Jacobin regime? Bravo. Napoleon is the answer. Question number 6. Arrange the following in the order of the form of government France. Had dash. Right choice. Monarchy, republic, directory, dictatorship is the best answer. Question number 7. True or false? Other countries rushed to help the people in their revolution. Good thinking. False is the right answer. Question number 8. What name was given to Robespierre's period of control during the revolution? Excellent choice. Reign of Terror is the right answer. Question number 9. In which year did Assembly vote to declare war against Prussia and Austria? Strong choice. April 1792 is the right answer. Question number 10. Thousands of women marched to Dash to force the king to accept the decrees. Correct. Versailles is the right answer. Question number 11. Who led the representatives of the Third Estate in Versailles on 20th June? Great job. Both A and B is the accurate answer. Question number 12. What percentage of the population made up the first 2 estates in France? Smart pick. 3% is the correct choice. Question number 13. The legislative body consisting of representatives from all 3 estates. Solid response. Estates General is a valid choice. Question number 14. About what percentage of France's population belonged to the Third Estate? Exactly. 98% makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 15. According to the new Constitution of 1791, the National Assembly was to be right again. Elected indirectly is a valid answer. Question number 16. Nickname for Robespierre's period of rule that ended when he was executed. Excellent. Reign of Terror is a brilliant choice. Question number 17. Which of the following refuted the doctrine of divine and absolute right? Correct response. John Locke is the most accurate answer. Question number 18. In which year did Napoleon Bonaparte crown himself the Emperor of France? You chose 1804, and it is correct. Question number 19. What is the term given to the French government prior to the Revolution? Nice selection. Old regime is the correct and valid answer. Question number 20. What violent event is considered the beginning of the French Revolution? Nicely done. Storming of the Bastille is a solid answer. Question number 21. Who said, "The task of representing the people has been given to the rich"? Clear logic. Your choice, Jean-Paul Marat, is sound and 100% true. Question number 22. In 1792, the National Assembly voted to declare war against dash and dash. Well reasoned. Prussia and Austria is the correct choice. Question number 23. An extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. Smart move. Subsistence crisis is an accurate answer. Question number 24. The King of France accepted the National Assembly's decrees right away. Valid point. False is true. Question number 25. Which of the following believed social position must be based on merit? Good job. Your answer middle class works well here. Question number 26. In dash King Louis XVI of France ascended the throne at the age of dash. You're right. 1774-20 is the correct answer. Question number 27. In dash year Jacobin Club planned a rebellion of large no. Of Parisians. Well picked. 1792 is the correct answer. Question number 28. The Assembly of Representatives from all three estates was called dash. Nice work. You chose Estates General and it is correct. Question number 29. What is the name for the prison in Paris during the French Revolution? On track. Bastille is the correct answer. Question number 30. The dash took place when the Third Estate swore to write a constitution. Well done. Tennis court oath is the right choice. Question number 31. What is the idea of the GOV? Spending more money than it is taking in. You're right. Deficit spending is the correct answer. Question number 32. The bourgeoisie belonged to which of the three estates? Smart pick. Third is the correct choice. Question number 33. On the morning of 14 July 1789, the city of dash in a state of alarm. On track. Paris is the correct answer. Question number 34. Nobles. Had land and wealth. Held leading positions in the government. Right choice. Second estate is the best answer. Question number 35. A triangular slave trade took place between Europe, the Americas, and... Well picked. Africa is the correct answer.
Question number 36. French merchants sailed from dash to the African coast to buy slaves.
Excellent. Bordeaux is a brilliant choice.
Question number 37. How many electors were there during period of constitutional monarchy?
Valid point. 50,000 is true. Question number 38. Voting in the Estates General was conducted on the principle of dash. Smart move. Each estate one vote is an accurate answer. Question number 39. The tennis court oath was a promise to always play tennis in France. Nicely done. False is a solid answer. Question number 40. The bourgeoisie, city workers, and peasants belong to this estate. Correct. Third estate is the right answer. Question number 41. On the morning of dash, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. Strong choice. 14 July 1789 is the right answer. Question number 42. The period from 1792 to 1793 is referred to as the Reign of Terror. Clear logic. Your choice false is sound and 100% true. Question number 43. Name the newspaper on which the speech of Robespierre was printed. Right again. The Universal Monitor is a valid answer. Question number 44. Where did the Third Estate from and announce the National Assembly? Well reasoned. Indoor tennis court is the correct choice. Question number 45. In which year was slavery finally abolished in the French colonies? Excellent choice. 1848 is the right answer. Question number 46. Which one of the following is the author of The Social Contract? You chose Rousseau, and it is correct. Question number 47. The Constitution of 1791 vested the power to make laws in the Dash. Bravo. National Assembly is the answer. Question number 48. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were executed publicly at the place. Nice work. You chose Concord Place, and it is correct. Question number 49. Lawyers, craftsmen, merchants, and commoners make up which estate? Correct response. Third estate is the most accurate answer. Question number 50. What wasn't one of the three estates during the French Revolution? Solid response. Serfs is a valid choice. Question number 51. After being exiled and returning, Napoleon's final battle was at? Exactly. Waterloo makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 52. What rights were guaranteed to men according to the Declaration? Nice selection. All of the above is the correct and valid answer. Question number 53. Who came to power in France at the end of the French Revolution? Great thinking. Napoleon is the right choice. Question number 54. What were the people looking for when they stormed the Bastille? Perfect. Weapons is the correct choice. Question number 55. Which estate in France was made up of the clergy and the church? Sharp thinking. The first estate is the right choice. Question number 56. Who wrote the Declaration of the Rights to Women and Citizens? Well done. Olympe de Gouges is the right choice. Question number 57. When did the National Assembly complete the draft constitution? You got it? Your choice 1791 is right. Question number 58. How much was the percentage of peasants in France's population? Great job. 90% is the accurate answer. Question number 59. When was the Estate General meeting held last? Before Louis XVI? Good thinking. 1614 is the right answer. Question number 60. What did the red cap worn by sans culottes in France symbolize? Good job. Your answer Liberty works well here. Question number 61. In the context of France, the fall of Bastille took place on? Strong choice. 14 July 1789 is the right answer. Question number 62. Which estate was the privileged class, containing the nobility? Excellent choice. Second is the right answer. Question number 63. Which is not one of the things Napoleon did to improve France? Good job. Your answer built churches works well here. Question number 64. When did women achieve the right to universal adult franchise? Nice selection. 1946 is the correct and valid answer.
Question number 65. The population is rose from about dash in 1715 to dash in 1789.
Smart move. 23 million, 28 million is an accurate answer. Question number 66. In dash, a Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself Emperor of France. Nice work. You chose 1804 and it is correct. Question number 67. What was the name of the machine used to kill King Louis XVI? Correct response. Guillotine is the most accurate answer. Question number 68. Who was the King France at the time of the French Revolution? Well picked. Louis XV is the correct answer. Question number 69. Monarchy was abolished and France was declared a republic on.
Perfect. 21 September 1972 is the correct choice.
Question number 70. Who was seen as a traitor for attempting to flee the country? You're right. King Louis XV is the correct answer. Question number 71. Who wrote an influential pamphlet? What is the third estate? Great job. Absies is the accurate answer. Question number 72. Which of the three estates was responsible for paying taxes? You chose third estate, and it is correct. Question number 73. True or false? The clergy made up the first estate in France. Well reasoned. True is the correct choice. Question number 74. Louis XV entered into secret negotiations with the King of. Excellent. Prussia is a brilliant choice. Question number 75. Who among the following proposed the social contract theory? Smart pick. Rousseau is the correct choice. Question number 76. Which revolutionary leader was known as the Incorruptible? On track. Maximilien Robespierre is the correct answer. Question number 77. The ideas of philosophers were discussed intensively in dash. Nicely done. Coffee houses is a solid answer. Question number 78. Which was the most famous club during the French Revolution? Valid point. Jacobin Club is true. Question number 79. All of the following are members of the Third Estate except. Bravo. Nobles is the answer. Question number 80. What was it called when the peasants riot throughout France? Well done. The Great Fear is the right choice. Question number 81. What percentage of the population made up the Third Estate? Good thinking. 97% is the right answer. Question number 82. How many women marched to Versailles demanding to be heard? Exactly. 6,000 makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 83. Which of the following would not belong to the Third Estate? Solid response. Priest is a valid choice. Question number 84. Voting rights were only given to men who were 18 years old. Sharp thinking. False is the right choice. Question number 85. When did Louis XV called an assembly of the Estate General? You got it. Your choice 1789 is right. Question number 86. On which date was the Assembly of the Estates General held? Right again. 5 May 1789 is a valid answer. Question number 87. Which estate had the highest percentage of the population? Great thinking. Third Estate is the right choice. Question number 88. Only members of Dash in paid taxes in 18th century in France. Right choice. Third Estate is the best answer. Question number 89. The Constitution of 1791 given power to make laws to whom? Clear logic. Your choice National Assembly is sound and 100% true. Question number 90. What did the red cap symbolize? War by sans culottes men. Correct. Liberty is the right answer. Question number 91. Who seized power power after the fall of the Jacobin government?
Solid response. Wealthy middle class is a valid choice.
Question number 92. What is the word for an executive made up of 5 members? Bravo Directory is the answer.
Question number 93. Who painted the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen?
Right choice. The barber is the best answer. Question number 94. The first government of the French Revolution was called. Strong choice. National Assembly is the right answer. Question number 95. French society in the 18th century was divided into. You're right. 3 estates is the correct answer. Question number 96. The tax that was charged by the crutch from the peasants. Perfect. Tithes is the correct choice. Question number 97. Castle or stately residence belonging to a king or noble. Clear logic. Your choice, Chattox, is sound and 100% true. Question number 98. Who was the King of France during the French Revolution? Good job. Your answer, Louis XV, works well here. Question number 99. In which battle Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated finally? On track. Battle of Waterloo is the correct answer. Question number 100. Which of the following constituted the privileged class? Well picked. Clergy and nobility is the correct answer. Question number 11. King Louis XV was an absolute monarch but a ruler. Well done. Weak is the right choice. Question number 102. Who was the composer of the national anthem Marseillaise?
Smart move. Roger de Isle is an accurate answer.
Question number 103. Louis XV appointed as a financial advisor in 1777. Valid point. Jack's Necker is true. Question number 104. How old was Marie Antoinette when she married Louis XV? Nice work. You chose 14 and it is correct. Question number 105. When did the Jacobins storm the palace of the Tuileries? Good thinking. 10 August 1792 is the right answer. Question number 106. Which estates in France were exempted from paying taxes? You chose first and second estate, and it is correct. Question number 107. How long had it been since the Estates General had met? Nice selection. 175 years is the correct and valid answer. Question number 108. Who wasn't treated fairly before the French Revolution? Great thinking. The third estate is the right choice. Question number 109. What was the assembly which got elected in 1792 called? Excellent choice. Convention is the right answer. Question number 110. Louis XV was sentenced death on the charge of treason. Exactly. True makes sense and it is right choice. Question number 111. A bishop belonged to which estate? Right again. First is a valid answer. Question number 112. Which king did Louis XVI have secret negotiations with? Great job. None of these is the accurate answer. Question number 113. Which group was taxed the most prior to the revolution? Well reasoned. Third estate is the correct choice. Question number 114. The French Revolution started with the storming of the... Smart pick. Bastille is the correct choice. Question number 115. Only this group paid taxes in pre-revolutionary France. Excellent. Third estate is a brilliant choice. Question number 116. Which estate included government and military leaders? Sharp thinking. Second is the right choice. Question number 117. The book Two Treatises on Government was written by. You got it? Your choice, John Locke, is right. Question number 118. Between which years the Reign of Terror was going on? Correct response. 1793-1794 is the most accurate answer. Question number 119. This group accounted for 97% of the people of France. Nicely done. Third estate is a solid answer. Question number 120. Louis XV ascended the throne of France in the year of. Correct. 1774 is the right answer. Question number 121. Who among the following consisted in the first estate? Right again. Priests and church officials is a valid answer. Question number 122. In which year Louis XV ascended the throne of France? Well picked. 1774 is the correct answer. Question number 123. Nobles had land and wealth, did not have to pay taxes. Great job. Second estate is the accurate answer. Question number 124. The radicals who took over the revolution were led by. Well done. Robespierre is the right choice. Question number 125. How much money did France borrow from other countries? Valid point. 3 billion books is true. Question number 126. Which year did women in France won the right to vote? Good job. Your answer, none of these works well here. Question number 127. Louis XV becomes the King of France in the year dash. You chose 1774, and it is correct. Question number 128. The July Revolution in France happened in which year? Good thinking. 1830 is the right answer. Question number 129. On August 10, Jacobins stormed the palace of the dash. Perfect. Tuileries is the correct choice. Question number 130. When did slavery finally abolish in French colonies? Sharp thinking. 1848 is the right choice. Question number 131. The French Revolution was inspired by dash thinkers. On track. Enlightenment is the correct answer. Question number 132. Which group of people did not join the Jacobin Club? You got it. Your choice, men with property, is right. Question number 133. Which person inspired the Third Estate to seek power? Great thinking. Abses is the right choice. Question number 134. What was the population percent for the First Estate? Solid response. 1% is a valid choice. Question number 135. When did the agitated crowd destroy the Bastille? Smart move. 14 July is an accurate answer. Question number 136. Dash in Paris and symbol of royal authority stormed. Nice selection. Prison is the correct and valid answer. Question number 137. Throughout the dash, there was criticism of slavery. Correct. 18th century is the right answer. Question number 138. In the context of France, what was the convention? Bravo. The newly elected assembly is the answer.
Question number 139. Which of these did not belong to the Jacobin Club?
Strong choice. Nobles is the right answer.
Question number 140. King Louis XV belonged to which dynasty of kings?
Clear logic. Your choice House of Bourbon is sound and 100% true.
Question number 141. Who advocated government based on social contract? Exactly. Rousseau makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 142. Who hired bands of brigands to destroy ripe crops?
Right choice. Lords of Manor is the best answer.
Question number 143. Mass dash executions of enemies of the revolution. You're right. Executions is the correct answer. Question number 144. The Roman Catholic clergy belonged to this estate. Correct response. First estate is the most accurate answer. Question number 145. Clergy and nobility enjoyed certain privileges by... Excellent choice. Birth is the right answer. Question number 146. Whose name is associated with the Reign of Terror? Well reasoned. Robespierre is the correct choice. Question number 147. France on the 21st September 1792 was declared a dash. Nicely done. Republic is a solid answer. Question number 148. About how much did the nobility number in France? Smart pick. 350,000 is the correct choice. Question number 149. Into how many estates French society was divided? Excellent. 3 is a brilliant choice. Question number 150. When the Napoleon Bonaparte was finally defeated? Nice work. You chose in 1815, and it is correct. Question number 151. Which social groups emerged in the 18th century? You got it. Your choice middle class is right. Question number 152. Napoleon conquered all of Europe and died a hero. On track. False is the correct answer. Question number 153. When did the French women get the right to vote? Exactly. 1946 makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 154. What was his age when he got married? Valid point. 20 is true. Question number 155. The French Revolution was broke out in the year. Sharp thinking. 1789 is the right choice. Question number 156. The book The Spirit of the Laws was written by? Perfect. Montesquieu is the correct choice. Question number 157. When was slavery permanently abolished in France? Bravo. 1848 is the answer. Question number 158. Which period was known as the Reign of Terror? Well picked. 1793-1794 is the correct answer. Question number 159. On what charge was Louis XV sentenced to death? You chose treason, and it is correct. Question number 160. When was King Louis XV was ascended the throne? Good job, your answer 1774 works well here. Question number 161. The Third Estate had which percent of population? Great job. 95% is the accurate answer. Question number 162. When did women of France get the right to vote? Nice selection. 1946 is the correct and valid answer. Question number 163. The writer of 2 treatises of government is?
Strong choice. John Locke is the right answer.
Question number 164. The population of France in the year 1715 was. Nice work. You chose 23 million, and it is correct. Question number 165. Who calls for the execution of King Louis XV? Great thinking. Georges Danton is the right choice. Question number 166. Members of the Jacobin Club were known as Dash. Correct response. Sans-culottes is the most accurate answer. Question number 167. Where did the revolutionists storm for weapons? Excellent. Bastille is a brilliant choice. Question number 168. When did Napoleon crown himself as an emperor? Clear logic. Your choice 1804 is sound and 100% true. Question number 169. The Third Estate was made up of these people. Well reasoned. Common people is the correct choice. Question number 170. Clergy. Very wealthy. Did not have to pay taxes. Right choice. First Estate is the best answer. Question number 171. What do you mean by the term sans-culottes? Correct. Those without knee breeches is the right answer. Question number 172. Louis XV belongs to which family of kings? Right again. Bourbon is a valid answer. Question number 173. Peasants made up about dash of the population. Solid response. 90% is a valid choice. Question number 174. What was the slogan of the French Revolution? You're right. Liberty, equality, fraternity is the correct answer. Question number 175. When did Louis XV become the King of France? Good thinking. In 1774 is the right answer. Question number 176. Women in France won the right to vote in dash. Excellent choice. 1946 is the right answer. Question number 177. Who overthrew the Directory in a coup d'état? Nicely done. Napoleon Bonaparte is a solid answer. Question number 178. The bourgeoisie owned 20 to 30% of the land. Smart move. True is an accurate answer. Question number 179. The Estates General was last convened in dash. Smart pick. 1614 is the correct choice. Question number 180. Where did Napoleon and his army face defeat? Well done. Waterloo is the right choice. Question number 181. The French Revolution was held in which year? Solid response. 1789 is a valid choice. Question number 192. King in France at the time of the Revolution? You chose Louis XVI, and it is correct. Question number 183. Members of the Third Estate were led by dash. Sharp thinking. Mirabeau and Abbé Sieyès is the right choice. Question number 184. What date is the equivalent to our July 4th? Well reasoned. July 14th is the correct choice. Question number 185. Most of the people of France belong to the... Exactly. Third Estate makes sense and it is right choice. Question number 186. In which year was slavery finally abolished? You got it. Your choice 1848 is right. Question number 187. 18th century French society was divided into... Good job. Your answer 3 estates works well here. Question number 108. What policies were followed by Robespierre? Correct. Severe control and punishment is the right answer. Question number 189. Which of the three estates was the poorest?
Smart move. Third estate is an accurate answer.
Question number 190. The members of the first estate were called?
Excellent choice. Clergy is the right answer.
Question number 191. Who wrote the book, The Spirit of the Laws?
Smart pick. Montesquieu is the correct choice.
Question number 192. Who were not considered passive citizens?
Good thinking. Wealthy people is the right answer.
Question number 193. Which estate did the bourgeoisie belong to? Well picked. Third estate is the correct answer. Question number 194. The triangular slave trade was done between? Nicely done. Europe, Africa, America is a solid answer. Question number 195. The Estate General was formed on which day?
Clear logic. Your choice 5th May 1789 is sound and 100% true.
Question number 196. During the Reign of Terror, many people were? Nice work. You chose executed, and it is correct. Question number 197. Name the leaders of Third Estate in France. Great job. Both, and is the accurate answer. Question number 198. France abolished the monarchy and became a... Valid point. Republic is true. Question number 199. When the Robespierre convicted by a court? Perfect. July 1794 is the correct choice. Question number 200. On what charges was Louis XV guillotined? Right again. Treason is a valid answer. Question number 201. About how many Parisians stormed Bastille? Nice selection. 900 is the correct and valid answer. Question number 202. When did the fall of Bastille take place? Bravo, 14 July 1789 is the answer. Question number 203. How many prisoners were there in Bastille? On track, 7 is the correct answer. Question number 214. Who reintroduced slavery 10 years later? Correct response. Naples Bonaparte is the most accurate answer. Question number 205. Who wrote 2 treatises of government? You're right. John Locke is the correct answer. Question number 206. Who reintroduced slavery after 10 years? Excellent. Napoleon is a brilliant choice. Question number 217. When did slavery in France got abolished?
Well done. 1848 is the right choice.
Question number 208. When did the revolutionists storm Bastille? Strong choice. July 14, 1789 is the right answer. Question number 209. What are the national colors of France? Great thinking. Blue, white, red is the right choice. Question number 210. When was Maximilien Robespierre executed? Right choice. July 1794 is the best answer. Question number 211. What was the main protest by the people? Smart pick. Price of bread is the correct choice. Question number 212. In which year Louis XV came into power? 1774 is the right choice. Question number 213. Who proposed the social contract theory? Bravo! Rousseau is the answer. Question number 214. The first 2 estates dashed to pay taxes. Great thinking. Refused is the right choice. Question number 215. What is the name for the second estate? Correct response. Aristocracy is the most accurate answer. Question number 216. When was the Battle of Waterloo fought? Good job. Your answer 1815 ad works well here. Question number 217. When did Jacobins plan an insurrection? Well picked. Summer of 1792 is the correct answer. Question number 218. Louis XV was executed publicly on dash. Great job. 21 January 1793 is the accurate answer. Question number 219. What kind of leader was King Louis XV? Right again. Weak and indecisive is a valid answer. Question number 220. When the slavery was finally abolished? On track. In 1848 is the correct answer. Question number 221. Louis XV became the King of France in. You chose 1774, and it is correct. Question number 222. Ideas on government inspire calls for. You're right. Change is the correct answer. Question number 223. What was the name of Louis XV's wife?
Excellent choice. Marie Antoinette is the right answer.
Question number 224. What is the national anthem of France?
Sharp thinking. Marseillaise is the right choice.
Question number 225. Where was Louis XV executed publicly? Valid point. Place de la Concorde is true. Question number 226. How far away is Versailles from Paris? Solid response. 13 miles is a valid choice. Question number 227. What percent did the second estate have?
Strong choice. 3% is the right answer.
Question number 228. When was monarchy abolished in France? Excellent. 21 Sep 1792 is a brilliant choice.
Question number 229. When was Napoleon Bonaparte defeated?
Perfect. October 1815 is the correct choice.
Question number 230. The bourgeoisie was a name for dash.
Nicely done. The French middle class is a solid answer. Question number 231. The nobility belonged to this estate. Nice selection. Second estate is the correct and valid answer. Question number 232. Before the revolution, France was a... Clear logic. Your choice monarchy is sound and 100% true. Question number 233. The Spirit of Laws was written by... Correct. Montesquieu is the right answer. Question number 234. The Jacobins Club got its name from...
Well reasoned. St. Jacob is the correct choice.
Question number 235. Newly elected assembly was known as...
Right choice. Convention is the best answer.
Question number 236. The revolution in France established. Smart move. Republic is an accurate answer.
Question number 237. When was France declared a republic?
You got it? Your choice on the 21 September 1792 is right. Question number 238. Upon becoming free, the slave war. Good thinking. Red cap is the right answer. Question number 239. Which was a type of representation? Exactly. The Estates General makes sense and it is right choice. Question number 240. When did Louis XV ascend to throne? Nice work. You chose 1774 and it is correct. Question number 241. Dash was a former convent in Paris. You got it. Your choice, St. Jacob, is right. Question number 242. About 60% of the land was owned by... Solid response. Nobles is a valid choice. Question number 243. Who was the leader of Jacobins' club? Nice work. You chose Maximilien Robespierre, and it is correct. Question number 244. The French Revolution began on dash. Good job. Your answer 14 July 1789 works well here. Question number 245. Who took over and improved France?
Well picked. Napoleon is the correct answer.
Question number 246. Abscise was originally a dash. Correct response. Priest is the most accurate answer. Question number 247. When did Battle of Waterloo happen? Smart pick. 1850 is the correct choice. Question number 248. When did France become a republic? Clear logic. Your choice, Sep. 1792 is sound and 100% true. Question number 249. Who belonged to the First Estate? Nice selection. Clergy is the correct and valid answer. Question number 250. The Second Estate was composed of... Nicely done. Nobility is a solid answer. Question number 251. Who constituted the Third Estate? Good thinking. Peasants and artisans is the right answer. Question number 252. When did Bastille was demolished?
Excellent choice. 14th July 1789 is the right answer.
Question number 253. Three-Art Estate also have rich people? Correct. True is the right answer. Question number 254. Who took over after Robespierre? Well reasoned. The Directory is the correct choice. Question number 255. When was the Bastille destroyed?
On track. 14 July 1789 is the correct answer.
Question number 256. Louis XVI came to throne in dash. Well done. 1774 is the right choice. Question number 257. When did Napoleon Bonaparte die? Smart move. 5th May 1821 is an accurate answer. Question number 258. Which two estates paid no taxes?
Strong choice. 16 NN is the right answer.
Question number 259. Which tax was paid to government? You're right. Size is the correct answer. Question number 260. French legacy to the world dash. Exactly. Liberty, freedom, and equality makes sense, and it is right choice. Question number 261. When did the slave trade begin? Perfect. 17th century is the correct choice. Question number 262. Who makes up the First Estate? Sharp thinking. The clergy is the right choice. Question number 263. Napoleon appointed himself as?
Right again. Emperor is a valid answer.
Question number 264. Louis XVI was of which family? Bravo! Bourbon is the answer. Question number 265. Who was the wife of Louis XVI? Great job. Marie Antoinette is the accurate answer. Question number 266. The word sans-culottes mean?
Valid point. People without knee breeches is true. Question number 267. When was King Louis XVI killed?
Great thinking. January 21, 1793 is the right choice.
Question number 268. What does sans culottes mean? Right choice. Without knee breeches is the best answer. Question number 269. Political body of France, dash. Excellent. Estates General is a brilliant choice.
Question number 270. At what age did Napoleon die? You chose 51, and it is correct. Question number 271. Where was Napoleon exiled to?
Good thinking. Saint Helena is the right answer.
Question number 272. Who was King Louis married to?
Nice selection. Marie Antoinette is the correct and valid answer.
Question number 273. What does scepter symbolize?
Well done. Symbol of royal power is the right choice.
Question number 274. Population of France in 1715.
On track, 23,000 is the correct answer.
Question number 275. When was liver discontinued? You got it. Your choice 1794 is right. Question number 276. The Reign of Terror was from? 1793-1794 is true. Question number 277. The word state means dash. Right again. A social class is a valid answer. Question number 278. Where was Louis XVI executed?
Good job. Your answer, Place de la Concorde, works well here.
Question number 279. Who was Napoleon in reality? Excellent choice. Dictator is the right answer. Question number 280. Dash starts the revolution.
Solid response. Storming of the Bastille is a valid choice.
Question number 281. The act of freeing Noailles.
You're right. Emancipation is the correct answer.
Question number 282. Who reintroduced slavery? Smart move. Napoleon Bonaparte is an accurate answer. Question number 283. Who formed the Third Estate?
Excellent. Others is a brilliant choice.
Question number 284. What was the Marseillaise?
Correct. A song is the right answer.
Question number 285. What was the State General?
Bravo. A political body is the answer.
Question number 286. Who were the bourgeoisie? Correct response. The middle class is the most accurate answer. Question number 287. What was taille known as? Clear logic. Your choice direct tax is sound and 100% true. Question number 288. Who invented guillotine? Smart pick. Dr. Guillotine is the correct choice. Question number 289. Who did Louis XVI marry?
Nice work. You chose Marie Antoinette, and it is correct.
Question number 290. When was Napoleon born? Sharp thinking. 15 August 1769 is the right choice. Question number 291. The wife of Louis XVI?
Great job. Marie Antoinette is the accurate answer.
Question number 292. Known as a big spender.
Strong choice. Marie Antoinette is the right answer.
Question number 293. When did Napoleon die? Well picked. 5 May 1821 is the correct answer. Question number 294. Urban workers earned.
Great thinking. Pitiful wages is the right choice.
Question number 295. Jack Snecker was a...
Exactly. Financial advisor makes sense, and it is right choice.
Question number 296. The Reign of Terror. 1793-94 is a solid answer. Question number 297. Let them eat cake.
Perfect. Marie Antoinette is the correct choice.
Question number 298. What was scepter?
Right choice. Symbol of royal power is the best answer.
Question number 299. What is the tail?
Well reasoned. Property and land taxes is the correct choice.
Question number 300. Who was Rousseau?
You chose a French philosopher, and it is correct.
Question number 301. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Nice selection. Contact Narayan Chengdar on Facebook is the correct and valid answer.